Hey y'all. I had to get on here because New York City, we did it. We did it. We elected Zohran Mamdani. Okay, shout out to Zohran, Democratic Socialist, but Democratic Party, who won the Democratic primary fair and square. Okay, with ranked choice voting. We have had the highest, this is the highest participation rate in a mayoral race in the 21st century. 2 million people. He won this race with 50% of the vote. Andrew Cuomo, three-time elected governor of New York, lost with 41.6%. And then Curtis Sliwa, the Republican, as you know, walk around with the red beret is at his mind, 7.1%. He has managed to galvanize a city that did not even know his name. I remember first hearing about him, and I remember saying, "Oh yeah, those are good ideas," but I mean, he probably one of the people that just, pie in the sky believes this kind of stuff, but really is not willing to work for it. And Andrew Cuomo, to me, was still coming off the COVID thing, but as soon as he started talking about that policing, which didn't take long, I said, "All right, well, this is just the guy I got to go with." It's just what it is. Zohran Kwame, after Kwame Nkrumah, who led the revolution to get rid of the British Empire controlling Ghana. Shout out to you, Mamdani. And Andrew Cuomo, who turned his back on you at the debate the other week and didn't even shake your hand, that couldn't pronounce your name right. You better get used to Mayor Mamdani. Andrew Cuomo, you know what? And like I said before, I do feel like he was railroaded in terms of getting out of office. But it is so clear that, the fact that Trump endorsed him, the fact that he claimed that when Trump endorsed him, it just means he was anti-Mamdani. And I'm like, no, you accepting all of those billionaire gifts from people like Bill Ackman. And like Zohran was doing an interview last week, and he was like, literally, Bill Ackman, and y'all can Google him because he got his hands in too many things. Bill Ackman has spent more on this campaign trying to see me lose than I will actually tax him under the plan that is like clearly outlined on my website. That's how afraid they are. So he's a Democratic Socialist. He is the first Muslim American to be a mayor. He is the first immigrant to be a mayor. And he's been in New York since he was 7, but still. And it is so nice to wake up and have a win on election day at a time like this. I'm sorry, because that to me represents the fact that we elected him as New Yorkers, says to me that one, big money is not going to control every election. It doesn't have to. And we don't have to let it. We can actually, with groundswell and support and actually not having the attitude, well, they're not going to win anyway. They will if we vote for them. That big money doesn't automatically mean you're going to win. Sometimes you just need a candidate who represents something. And we can say, oh, he's just mayor's local politics. New York City is no small part of the United States. New York City's politics can often dictate examples to everybody else across the world. Why are people having watch parties in the UK for Mamdani being elected in New York City? He's the people's mayor now. And I do not have the wool pulled over my eyes. I learned with Barack Obama, we were all excited, and then all he was doing was finger waving at the African American community and stuff. But nevertheless, I had the right to be happy in the midst of a narcissistic, dictatorial takeover of the U.S. government, because we're tired. We're exhausted. We're exhausted. And I'm going to tell you what I really didn't like. This whole thing with Andrew Cuomo sitting on The View and all them old baby boomers or near baby boomer people. And Andrew Cuomo was really just playing into it and just saying things like, well, if Mamdani gets elected, that's a treat for Trump because he'll know to bring the forces in. I dealt with him, this, that, and the other. Y'all, that is fear mongering. It is, because the whole idea that somehow it was the same thing with that bullshit Tavis Smiley was talking about. If Kamala Harris, ran for governor, which she didn't, ran for governor of California, that would make things worse because Trump already doesn't like her. I do not believe in that mentality, and let me explain to you why. First of all, walking on eggshells around a narcissist, okay, or somebody with narcissistic personality traits, since I'm not a doctor, doing that has never changed a narcissist's behavior. Shout out to Kevin McCarthy, former Speaker of the House, who his own Republicans put out because he went against Trump on something. And then 2 days later went down on his knees to Mar-a-Lago to apologize. And Trump, accepts it publicly. And next thing you know, he's ousted. Okay? So it doesn't matter what you do. Donald Trump's behavior is the issue. Him saying he's going to hold funds from New York, that's the people's money. That's our tax money. That is not his individual money that's been allocated by Congress in a federal process to withhold. That's not his dollars to hold. Sorry, we're not your wife. We're not your past wives that you've abused, where you can control people with that kind of shit. So it's not his in the first place. And so playing this game like, okay, everybody has to tiptoe around him. Donald Trump works for the people. Whether he's actually doing it or not, he's in there because of the people. So miss me with the bullshit. And it doesn't matter who it would have been. He still sent troops into Chicago. And Chicago, I'm going to tell y'all right now, Black people in Chicago, y'all not doing enough for me to support Brandon Johnson. Y'all aren't, because that man stays fighting for the community and still making Chicago better, and y'all just don't have his back. But I'll hear Black people saying, oh, our governor don't play that. This and y'all's governor is a billionaire. He's still part of that group. Y'all not loud enough for Brandon Johnson for me. But anyway, even if they do, like, everybody's job in this country is not to tiptoe around Donald Trump. And we're so used to people not challenging or fighting narcissists because they go on these campaigns. Fuck it. He's already doing what he's doing. So what are we going to do? Cower? Play possum until he's ready? Fuck him. Okay? And that's what New York City said tonight. Anyway, and Zohran, shout out to you when you gave that speech and you said, Donald Trump, turn the volume up. Because I want you to hear this. You did that. You ate. Okay? And in the words of somebody on TikTok, and because Zohran was at Halloween parties and stuff over the weekend. And, this Black guy was on TikTok and he was like, first of all, Zohran's outside is not Eric Adams outside. Eric Adams and Zohran are not the same person. Zohran's outside like, my homework is done and my parents gave me permission to go out and have fun. So that's what I'm doing. And I was like, and basically Eric Adams outside is just always outside while not doing anything, has no work to show for it. And Zohran did his work, okay? Like, shout out to Zohran. Yeah, and Andrew Cuomo, you ruined your own political career. You had enough people, because it's not like they held a special election when he left office during COVID. It's like the assembly took his power, which they had the right to do. They were taking his power to force him into resignation about the sexual harassment cases, which I do still think were in part politically motivated. Because he was getting too much attention. But you proved, Andrew Cuomo, you can be very good in crisis, which also means you know better. You were talking about how the police do abuse Black people, and then it became the NYPD isn't racist. We don't believe that. This, that, and the other. He just wants to abolish prisons and this, that, and the other. And, he does believe in community policing. Now, we know that that's not going to happen today, but it is designed to reduce the number of people in jail, and particularly people of color. And, it also, like it demonstrates that there's also this element that doesn't work anymore, where you used to go into a Black church, like Andrew Cuomo did, say some things, the pastor doesn't, they obviously can't endorse from the pulpit, and then it automatically means this, that, and the other. Because that's what Andrew Cuomo was doing, but he was talking to a group of Black people that did not reflect Black people. And I can tell you already, Andrew Cuomo's son-in-law, let me tell you something. Whenever you see a white person at a Black church or anywhere around Black people, and like they may be smiling, but they're red. They don't like black people. They're uncomfortable around black people. And the fact that your son-in-law is like that, that already lets me know your family is like that. Yep, it's those little things you have to pay attention to. Just like when he kept mispronouncing Mamdani's name. And I said I took that as a sign of outright racist disrespect. Because I know it is for people to mispronounce my name, Salah, over and over and over again and mispronounce it on purpose once knowing better because it's their way of reminding me, Negro, that's your place. See, I've seen these things. And it was just so nice to just have a win. And all of this anti-Semitism, I am not saying that anti-Semitism, people who have harmed synagogue, none of those people deserve that. And yes, they should be protected. Mamdani never said that, but he has been unwavering in his position on Palestine. No, he does not deserve. Not deserve. No, he does not owe anybody this allegiance to Israel. He is running New York City, not Tel Aviv. Okay, we do not live in Israel. And Cuomo is still part of Netanyahu's legal team. Nobody thinks that's a conflict of interest. That's why he was getting so much money for his campaign. Because New York City is the center of so much business. And I'm waiting on all these people who said they were going to leave. All these rich people that's going to leave the day after Mamdani. Because let me tell you something. That means them apartments hopefully will get real love. I would like a nice brownstone not too far from where I work. Thank you. Anyway. They ain't going nowhere because they need the people to exploit. Okay? So, and his speech, I would tell y'all to look at it when he was basically like, I hear you, the migrants, I hear you, Trinidadian auntie. He said, I hear you, the 300,000 black women who Trump fired with his policies. Like, I hear, and granted, the black vote, which, a lot of it is older people, was not present, but it was present among black millennials. And my thing is, regardless, yes, the speech of affordability, actually knowing what socialism is, and even when you hear Zohran talk, he's always quoting black people. Clearly, I ain't just talking about those dumb rap videos he does, but like actually have studied people like Martin Luther King, who was a Democratic Socialist, by the way, Toni Morrison. You can tell he's actually studied these ideas. And I know because I've read so many of these things as well. And for Zohran to stand on what he believed in, and Cuomo's making jokes, and he was like, well, if another 9/11 happens, this can't be your first job. And the man on the radio was like, yeah, he'd probably be cheering because he was Muslim. And Cuomo was like, yeah, that's another problem. See, but that would have worked previously. But this is how you know shit is getting real. Because it's not like New York doesn't have hella conservative policies. There are a bunch of white liberals who think they're, not racist because they don't believe in slavery. What? But I just want to have the right to be happy and to celebrate something. Like I said, I don't have wool over my eyes. We know that politicians are not always, they're not the means for like liberation. But I will say this, and this is why I don't mess with people. I don't like when people talk about how they don't vote and they think that's like smart and contrarian. I'm not talking about real educated people who like really understand that a whole system needs to happen, but those people are few and far between. Because my thing is, while elections may not change, every aspect of your life, one thing I do know is that elections have consequences. Shout out to the dumbass people who voted for Trump. The ones crying now saying this is not what they voted for. No, it was what you voted for. You just thought it would affect black people. And yes, black people specifically, miss me with the people of color shit. They weren't talking about Asians. Miss me with the BS. They thought SNAP and WIC would be taken from black people who have never been a majority on any of these programs. And let's be clear, the taxpayers pay this. Okay? So the fact that you've been a recipient and now can't have it because he's having a narcissistic tantrum in the White House because he refuses to back down on anything. He exploited y'all. He never thought he was one of y'all. Y'all are poor white trash to him. He's from Queens, New York. And a lot of y'all are down south with those conservative politics and you played yourself. Because now you done voted in senators and representatives in the House who don't represent your interest either. So I mean, I guess yeah, there was other stuff that happened, like Virginia got a Democratic governor. They had the former lieutenant governor, that black woman, what was her name? Sears. Uh, yeah, her pandering to Trump. Like that shit would have worked back in the George Bush era, but see, shit getting real bad. Um, Also, I could tell by the way her hair was done, she was not to be trusted because it wasn't done. And a black woman whose hair is like that tells me they're not around other black people at all, or black women, because there is no way you would walk around looking like that with anybody black around you, even if they don't like you. Shit, they at least tease you enough to where you fix your hair. You can't trust a black person like that. A black person don't have any kind of black people. Clearly not like a real black hairdresser. She must have been doing it herself. Like, you can't trust that. I'm sorry. When you are going around, you need to clean yourself up. And I don't need people talking about politics and respectability, all this. People who have never read that book by Evelyn Higginbotham, but want to talk about, oh, politics and respectability, just and the other. Like, you don't even know what that means. That's a history of black people working their fucking asses off to build institutions, to fight lynching, and to educate the black community, while also trying to help other black people have a sense of dignity and pride about oneself. And yes, because white people do judge us differently. Some of y'all don't even understand the complexity of that, but you throw the word around. The phrase around. Anyway, so that black woman lost. They wasn't gonna vote for you because you were a black person anyway, and a black woman at that. I guess you and Kamala have something in common after all. Anyway, so New Jersey's governor, the Citarella, the Italian guy, lost. I'm just gonna tell y'all, Chris Christie messed it up for you. I don't really know that much about them, but I will say that what's happening is a sign that there is resistance to what Trump is doing. California's Prop 50, I think, is the one that went over to do the redistricting, which wouldn't have been necessary had Texas not started this bullshit. Okay, it really is giving Civil War, though. Like, this is exactly what was going on the eve of the Civil War with Kansas, Nebraska acts and stuff like that. Just telling y'all. Another thing on the New York ballot, then we had some state proposals that we had to vote on. And I'm not going to talk about all of them. But first of all, there was some ski resort or slopes created in the Adirondack Park that I didn't have any idea about. That's why I always have to study that's why I'm glad New York sends out the ballot packet so I could actually Google and try to figure this stuff out. They had built this whole ski resort on land, and they wanted people to vote to legalize it retroactively. And then said, well, we'll add 2,500 acres of preserved land to the New York state government. No, y'all built ski slopes, okay, for people to enjoy skiing. I already knew black people weren't enjoying it. And then on land that was supposed to already be not historically, but it's supposed to be preserved and maintained. It helps keep global warming down, things like that. Y'all already did it, and now y'all want us to legalize it, and then y'all can give us 2,500 more. Well, you already taking up land. Miss me. I voted no on that shit, and so did the rest of New York. I will say New York, I don't think y'all understood when they made these proposals where there's going to be a committee. If the city council votes on something with housing or whatever, and the mayor and the borough president and one other person, if they don't like it, they can take another vote amongst the three of them, and then whoever's the majority, they can reverse a decision by the city council in terms of that kind of thing. I'm gonna tell you right now, I voted no. A lot of other people voted yes. My problem with that is the reason why I voted no was because that depends on who the fuck the mayor is. Like, y'all are thinking about Zohran right now. We don't know where we'll be in 4 years. I don't think every mayor should have that opportunity. And so you have to always think about those larger proposals. Like that may be okay in one instance, but it may not always be okay. So I think we dropped the ball on that one. Not me, y'all. All right. Then they had this thing to slow down not speed up the process with approving housing, the building of housing. I voted no on that. New York voted yes. And the reason why they were like, things now take 7 months. This was speeded up to like what, 30 days, 30 to 60 days. And I was like, y'all do realize that that's an attempt to bypass the city's regulations that are necessary to build strong buildings without lead, without mold, making sure things are done correctly. And then that's supposed to increase housing. Yeah, but when you have whole buildings falling down like they've done in the Bronx or fires out of nowhere in these buildings, I don't care that we don't like the bureaucracy at times. This needs to be fucking reviewed before you send people in there and they can be harmed. And I think people just like got the whole idea of we're tired of waiting. This is going to make it faster. All it's going to do is make those corporations, those billion-dollar corporations, be able to build more cheap housing. And when I say cheap housing, I'm not talking about affordable. I mean cheap stuff that they can hurry up and sell and then neglect. It's not like New York landlords are known for being good. I don't care what part of the city you live in. You dropped the ball on that one. Hmm. And then there was another ballot proposal for moving city elections like our mayoral election to presidential years to increase voter participation. I voted no on that. New York voted yes. I'm going to tell you why I voted no on that. Because to the average eye, it looks like, oh, that makes sense. But see, the thing is, a Mamdani running at the same time as Trump, if he was running for mayor, we would have ended up with Andrew Cuomo. Because that would have been a selling point. But by having it in those odd off years, what it does is it also helps us take the temperature of whatever the hell the fucking president is doing, and we decide we want a different kind of representation in the city, we can have it. But if we're voting at the same time about it, and I think it's very short-sighted to presume just voter participation therefore results in, I mean, clearly we've had the highest voter participation in the 21st century this time, right? Even without it. But I think people think, oh, that'll be easier. But sometimes by not having it at the same time, we can see really what the city needs that the federal government may be keeping us from having or working with the federal government. It depends. So I voted against that. The New York, y'all, I think y'all dropped the ball on that one too. Yeah, but those are my thoughts. But I'm really happy about Mamdani's win. Shout out to you. And I'm just, looking forward to a new day. We learned our lesson in the '08. But I think it's great that the word socialism and the misuse of the word socialism and communism did not scare people. These are not the 1950s and 1960s. Capitalism is not working. Capitalism comes for all of us. Poor white people crying in their cars, talking to news reporters right now about their SNAP benefits. I know the judge told Trump he couldn't, but Trump has not complied with federal judges on multiple occasions. So I'm just saying elections have consequences. And I feel good about the results of this one. All right. I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye.